Hey guys, this is Alex from MarketWise Asia, and in today's video ETF in focus, I'm going to share with you this ETF called the US Global JETS ETF. Alright, so this is a very interesting ETF. So from the ticker name, you should know that this ETF deals mainly in the airline industry. And if I'm also not mistaken, this is the only ETF that's 100% pure play in the airline industry. Okay, so what I'll be covering today, okay, so I'll be doing this broad review and analysis. For example, I'll share with you what are the stock holding list, whether this ETF give dividends or not, what is the AUM size, etc. And also go through some of the TA aspect. I'll go through some of the charts of all these airline companies. Okay, so before we go into that, let's go to the issuer side. All right, this is the company that creates this ETF. This is by this company called the US Global. All right, so it says that these ETF provide investor access to the global airline industry, including airline operators and the manufacturers from all over the world. And on this side, you can see the overview, the holdings, the prices, and the performance, etc. But personally, I prefer to go to this third-party site called ETF.com because everything, all the ETF that's listed in the US can be found on this site called ETF.com. And right now, I'm already on the JETS ETF site already. So let's go through the description once again. It says that JETS invests in both the US and the non-US airline company. All right, but the concentrated portfolio is weighted more towards the domestic passenger airlines. And I'm not sure whether you can see over here, right? It says that the portfolio, all right, the top 4 companies receiving 10% each, all right, which means that the top 4 airlines, right, is already comprises of the 40% of this whole ETF already. Okay, so we'll go more into that later. All right, so let's go through this summary of this ETF. The ETF was inception date was on the 2015 April, so it has been about more than 6 years already, about 6 years already. All right, the assets under management is 3.88 billion. 3.8 billion, that's about 4 billion. So in my opinion, for a thematic ETF, the AUM is quite big already because I can see other thematic ETF, especially those newer one, the AUM are not so big. So for ETF that can go beyond 1 billion, it is quite a feat already. Okay, so let's go through these what are the stocks that make up of this JETS ETF. Let's go down to the top 10 holding. All right. Can see over here, right, the Southwest Airlines comprises about 11.45%. All right, United Airlines about 10.66%, American Airlines 10.46%, and the Delta Airlines 10.26%. And there are other whole lots of companies inside ETF, but the allocation is pretty small. And because I'm a Singaporean, I'm from Singapore, you can see that interestingly, the Singapore Airlines is inside also. Singapore Airlines about 1%, and also the SETS, all right, also 0.95%, also about 1%. Okay, so this I want to go through is this, which means that the top 4 holding approximate about more than 40% already are inside of comprises of these 4 companies: Southwest Airlines, United Airlines, American Airlines, and the Delta Airlines. Okay, so whether this ETF give dividend or not. I know there are some people who invest in ETF and they'll ask whether does this ETF give dividend. Let me go through with you over here. I'm using this market in out screen over here. All right, it does give dividend. Okay, so the latest earnings dividends per share over here, it gives 1 cent, so the dividend yield is about 0.04%. So you can see over here, this the dividend is not really a lot. Okay, so basically you're not investing on this ETF purely for the dividend. All right, so interesting ETF. Okay, so I think the closest one that I can compare to is this transportation ETF already. So this is a ETF that I've curated myself personally. I hope you guys can see over here. Let me try to do a search over here. Transportation, NSPOR. Okay, so you can see that under the transportation, there's this iShare and this SPDR, Spider S&P Transportation ETF. All right, so the ticker name is called IYT. Let's take a look at this transportation first. All right, so go to IYT. IYT is over here already. Let's go to the all the top holdings of this ETF. Go through over here. Can see that mainly is about FedEx, Kansas City's, Norfolk Southern Corporation. All these are non-airlines companies. All right. So are the airlines company inside? So yes, for example, Alaska Air Group 2.7%, Southwest 2.4%, United Airlines 2.12%, Delta Airlines 1%, American Airlines less than 1%. So this transportation is not mainly talks about the airline industry. So I think the closest can get is this transportation ETF. But if you really want to go into pure play into airlines, you could consider going to this ETF, this JETS ETF. All right. So, is this ETF a good investment or a good trading opportunity, right? Then we have to go through the charts. Okay. So this is the chart of this ETF over here. All right. So let's go through a broader view. All right. So for those who are new to MarketWise Asia, right, I use this indicator called the Ichimoku cloud for me to determine the trend and the central pivot range, which is all these green dotted lines over here, and then the pivot points. All right, I'll go through this one by one with you guys. All right, so ever since the COVID sell-off, all right, you can see that price, there was a crash over here. Price actually did drop about near 60% plus, all right? So after the COVID, price actually eventually recovered, all right? So when price is above the cloud, generally, this is what I call price is above the cloud and it is on a uptrend. So right now, price is generally on a uptrend right now, okay? So right now, price is above the cloud, all right? And above the it's below the CPR, but it's above the cloud. So generally, you can see that price is overall still in a uptrend. It's still in a uptrend. Okay, so let's go to the weekly time frame over here, right? The longer term time frame price actually dropped. There's a crash over here, and then price is above the cloud, which means that this is on a uptrend already. Okay, so the best time to enter is actually in early 2021, which is this year at this point of doing this video. Price actually once broke above the cloud over here, is supported by the cloud, and then there's a rally over here. Okay, so based on this weekly time frame analysis, this ETF is still undergoing a pullback right now. So it still looks pretty strong to me. At least what I can see that in this pullback, the volume is generally going down as well. The pullback is in lower volume. So which means that this is not like a sell-off, but merely just like a normal correction. All right. So as I mentioned over here, this ETF, the top four holdings are Southwest Airlines, United Airlines, American Airlines, Delta. So let's go through these Southwest Airlines, LUV over here. Where's the charts over here? LUV. So this is also a weekly time frame. It basically is like almost the same now, okay? Like the ETF, because 40% is comprises of all these four stocks, right? So basically it's the same as well. Southwest, I'll go through another one, like for example, AAL, American Airlines, is also almost the same also. But generally, American Airlines is weaker compared to the rest, like for example, where is it? This Southwest Airlines and the United Airlines, okay? So, and what else do we have? American Airlines, United Airlines, UAL. All right, so price has also broken above the cloud already. Now it's like undergoing a correction. The last one is Delta Airlines over here, DAL, Delta Airlines. All right, it's also price has broken above the cloud. So essentially, the price action for all the four airlines are almost the same. So if you want to have a broad view diversification, and if you want to buy into this airline industry, you can go into this JETS ETF. Let's go through the charts one more time. JETS. All right. So let's go through a daily time frame over here. All right. Overall, it is still on a uptrend. So can you see over here, when price is above the cloud, it is still on an uptrend. And right now, price is trying to break above this pivot point above the central pivot range. So generally, the uptrend is still intact. And of course, the airline industry fall under this sector called the consumer discretionary. And right now, with the pandemic, there could be a third wave coming in. So the airline industry could be in for a hard time, and could be pretty volatile also. But nevertheless, right, if you are talking strictly on a technical perspective, this airline industry is still on a uptrend. And if, for example, if you are a swing trader, a position trader, or a momentum trader, all right, the airline industry is still a pretty good sector to be in right now. The uptrend is still intact. Okay, so I hope you find this video useful. Let me go through this again. Just want to share with you, right? I have this ETF list where I curated a number of these ETF over here. Can see it's sorted according to the sectors and the industry. For example, the 11 main sectors like energy, financial, utilities, industrial, tech, healthcare, discretionary staples, materials, comms, and real estate. And there are other subsectors or what I call the industry. For example, like the aerospace, defense, agriculture, airlines is for example, it's inside over here. JETS, artificial intelligence, auto, banks, banking and investment services, biotech. A lot of them, right? Also categorized into indices, countries, commodities, currencies, styles, right? For example, large cap, value growth, mid cap, small cap, value growth, etc. And also like one of the top favorite, the ARK Innovation ETF, the ARK ETF basically. Mostly all of them are inside also, even for these bonds, it is also inside also. Because if you realize, right, a lot of these ETF, if you want to try and find them, it is not so straightforward. What do I mean by that? So let's say you want to search for example, you want to search for, let's say, biotech ETF. And you're inside this list, right? You realize that there are a lot of these ETF. Okay, there are a lot of ETF, and many of them, the AUM, the assets under management, are very small or very new. For example, like CHB, IBB, JBS, all these AUM is only about less than 100 million, which is pretty small. So I wouldn't recommend that. Basically, you just have to look at the biggest AUM. So I basically curated this. You can see, for example, over here, if you search for the biotech over here, industry, you search for biotech, you can see, I already listed them for you already, IBB, XBI. So I only list the most important ones over here, so you can, don't have to go through this site and go through, and click and click inside and to go through all the ETF. All right, so very simple. All you have to go through to get this access to ETF, right, is to go to this link over here, http://ETF access. And if you are using a desktop right now, you can just scan the QR code also, and you will be brought to this site. Okay, let me go through with you over here, ETF access. All right, and all you have to do is just to fill in your first name and your primary email, and I will send you the list. Or you have to confirm email before I send you the list. Okay, so last but not least, okay, you can also subscribe to MarketWise Asia Telegram channel, where I always update some of the interesting news, and whenever I go to Facebook Live, you get access to all these updates also. And also, last but not least, remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching this video on YouTube. Okay, so I hope you find this video interesting and useful to you. So thank you and see you guys. Bye bye.